and greetings from Japan. I'm in Japan now, and I'm very excited to share with you this presentation material that we have, for you, in order for you to gain more clarity what emGuarde is as a product, okay, or as a new addition to the emGuarde family. Okay, now let's begin. Introducing emGuarde, Japan's latest patented technology, the emGuarde. Okay, so basically, you know that this machine, it's actually a environment harmonizer. It harmonizes the environment, okay, from all this unwanted pollution. Okay, I believe that you can relate to me when I show you these pictures, okay? Now, 30 years ago, when I was still schooling, so I think some of you can guess my age, since I said that 30 years ago, I'm still schooling, okay? And I was playing with all this, bottle caps, football on the field, and nowadays our kids are forced to upgrade themselves and they are playing with all these gadgets, iPads, VR system, mobile phones, you name it. Okay, all the electronic gadgets. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that all these are not good. Now, all these gadgets and technology, they bring convenience to the humankind, in terms of development. At the same time, it is actually producing certain byproducts, which is unseen. We cannot see it, we cannot feel it, but it's in the environment. And the byproducts today we're talking about, it's actually the electromagnetic radiation pollution. Okay, an energy that comes up from all these devices where you can't really see it, but you can actually measure through some specific equipments. Now, the next slide I'm going to share with you is actually the world pollution. We call it the earth pollution. And some of this pollution, you guys are pretty familiar, like water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution. All this can be heard, can be seen, or can be smelled through your nose. But when it comes to the EMF radiation pollution, it's unique. Okay, it's unique because this type of pollution, you can't really see it, you can't feel it, you can't smell it, or you can't hear it. Okay, making it hard to detect without using special equipments. Okay, so today the main topic here is actually so let me just repeat myself maybe 5 seconds ago. So now, documentation beats conversation. Okay, so the next slide that I'm about to show you is actually a press release from WHO back in 2011, which is about 13 years ago. Okay, now back then, WHO mentioned that the radio frequency electromagnetic fields as possibly carcinogenic to human, meaning there's a potential risk, okay? An increased risk of glioma, and glioma is actually a malignant type of brain cancer. And the keyword is associated with wireless phone use, okay, which is the modern gadget here, okay? Now, talking about all these energies and pollution, now we categorize this energy into three categories, okay? Now, the first category is called electromagnetic field strength. And this type of energy, as long as you turn on your power line, and as long as your appliances is powered up by electricity, when there is current flowing through your appliances, it produces a certain level of electromagnetic field strength. Okay? Now, the second energy here is talking about signal strength. And signal strength is basically talking about communication devices like your phone, your Wi-Fi router. Okay? So these gadgets, they produce certain level of signal radiation energy coming from the antenna and stuff like that. Okay? But today we are focusing on the third energy because the third energy, which is the electromagnetic noise radiation, is actually a byproduct of the first and second energy. Okay, I hope I make myself clear. Meaning when you turn on your power line for the first energy, when you turn on your power line, when there is current going through your power lines or your appliances, it generates a certain level of electromagnetic noise radiation. It is a byproduct. Okay, now at the same time, when you turn on your signal, like say your Wi-Fi router, your phone is communicating with your Wi-Fi or the 4G and the 5G network, it also produces a certain level of electromagnetic noise radiation as well, which is the leakages of the signal itself. Okay, So emGuarde is actually a product or a technology built to address the electromagnetic noise radiation. Okay, now let me put you into a more clearer perspective. I've drawn a few pictures here. Okay, so these are the electromagnetic noise radiation sources. In fact, if I were to tell you that the sources is not just whatever you see on the screen, whatever you see on the screen are just some very commonly used appliances and gadgets. But in fact, if I were to name it, this slide itself is insufficient. Okay, it's a long list. Okay, so all the gadgets which is powered by electricity, including some of the battery operated gadgets and also electricity AC power gadgets, those are potential noise radiation sources as well. Okay, so these are just a few examples, and these are the more common ones. We're talking about TV, induction cooker, computers, Wi-Fi routers, and stuff like that. All right. Now, to put you into a more clearer perspective, now the first picture that I'm going to show you here is this. Now, these are the non-communication devices. We're talking about the aircon, the microwaves, and also the induction cooker. These does not contain any antenna or it's not built for communication purposes. So when we use all these gadgets or appliances, it produces the first energy, which is the electromagnetic field energy coming from the power socket. Okay, when you turn on the power, it produces this. Okay, but emGuarde is not built to address this because the only way to address this type of energy is to terminate the power source. And by terminating the power source, you cannot really operate the air conditioner and microwave is in it. Okay, so there's no way to do that. The only way to reduce this is to turn off the power. So the developer of the emGuarde is pretty smart. They know that they can't address certain things, which is the first energy, but they can suppress the byproduct of the first energy, which is the electromagnetic noise radiation strength. Okay, so it produces the second energy, which is this. Now, the next picture, I'm going to show it to you. It's communication devices like Wi-Fi router, your handphone, your laptops, or your desktop, which is plugged in and is connected to Wi-Fi. Now, when you turn on the power, it produces the first energy as well, which is the electromagnetic field. Okay, it's unavoidable. Now, the second energy, when the antenna is working, it's producing the second energy within your living area. We call it the signal energy. It's invincible. Okay, now for those people who do not believe in signal energy, now let me put you into perspective. When you turn on your phone and when you're using a Wi-Fi, do you actually see a connecting line? We call it an active landline, connecting your phone to the Wi-Fi route. You don't see that, right? It's actually true. Propagating this energy is actually coming from space. It's propagating from the antenna to your phone and your eyes can't see it. But as soon as your phone is receiving the Wi-Fi signal, means the energy is actually within the airspace. It is that simple, okay? So again, emGuarde is not built to disturb or to cut any form of signal. That's the reason why when you turn on the emGuarde, you can still operate your phone or your laptops normally. Instead, emGuarde is built to address the byproduct of the signal energy, which is the electromagnetic noise radiation power density. Okay, so it's built to suppress that so that we get lesser of that to the body itself. Okay, so I hope that these few pictures will actually put it into perspective of what emGuarde really is in terms of, because some people, when you use the emGuarde, they say emGuarde is an anti-radiation device. It cuts off all the radiation. Now, this is untrue. Okay, so this is a proper way to actually explain what emGuarde is. Next. All right, now in this demo, I'm going to show you something pretty interesting. Okay, now at first during the last week's demo, I actually did live, but I felt that in Zoom meetings, doing that live demo is not so, I would say, efficient because you cannot really see it from my angle. So what I did was me and my colleague, we actually shoot it into a video format to give you more clarity. Now, let me just give you the gist of this demonstration. Now, basically, we are doing a sound frequency energy demo. And we're here to show you that our human hearing range in terms of hertz is actually between 20 hertz to about 20,000 hertz. So this is the audible level for the human eardrum. Okay. Now, so in this demo, I'm going to tune to two types of frequency. And one is at 9,000 and 9,000 is actually between or within this hearing range. Okay. I want you to hear it, that sharp sound, how it disturbs you and how you feel uncomfortable with that. And later on in the demonstration, I'm going to tune the app into a higher range, which is above 20,000. I'm going to set it all the way up to 25,000, where your ears can't hear it, but I'm going to show you that the energy, it's still in the same place. It's just that you need a sophisticated device to detect the power density of the energy. Okay, let's take a look at the video. In this demo, we're going to show you how does the sound energy travels away from the phone by using an app from the Apple by the name of Sonic. So we install this app, and this app you can actually change the frequency from 0 Hz all the way up to about 25,000 Hz. Now, basic science educates us that our human ear can listen to sound energy somewhere from 20 Hz all the way to about 20,000 Hz. That's the max. Anything above 20,000 Hz, you can hardly hear anything, okay? So in this case, I'm going to show you an example by playing a sound wave of 9,000 Hz. Can you hear this sharp noise coming out from the phone? Okay, so now let's measure how intense this is. Now what I have here, it's a gadget where it's built to register or to detect high frequency electromagnetic noise radiation in microwatts, okay? I'm going to pull the phone away from me for about 20 centimeters. And before I activate the app, as you can see, there is no intensity from the radiation detector. Now, once I play the app, you're looking at an intensity of about 2,300 to about 2,400 microwatts. Okay, pause again. Let me do again a contrast. Play again. So this is how the noise energy travels from the phone. Okay, now next, what we'll do next is I'm going to switch the frequency all the way to 25,000 Hertz, and this is actually within the non-audible level. And as soon as I press the play button, I think you can hardly hear anything, right? Because I'm not hearing anything, okay? It's playing now, but I'm not hearing anything, okay? So I'm going to bring back the same gadget now, okay? Just pause the app, and I'm going to bring back the same gadget to show you how intense this is, although it is non-audible, which is you can't hear it, but this is how the energy travels away from the phone, okay? Now, let's activate the detector and play the app. So this is how intense it is at 25,000 Hertz. It's registering about 1,000 microwatts in average. Okay, about 1,002 now. Okay, let me show you the distance, the actual distance. I'm just move like this, and this detector is actually away from the phone for about 20 centimeter. Okay, now pause the app. I just want to show you the contrast. This is the distance. As soon as I pause it, the energy won't travel through the phone, and as soon as I play again, this is how it travels, and now it is actually registering an intensity of about 2,000 microwatts. Okay, so I think a video paints 1,000 words, rather than me describing it to you. So I choose to shoot it in a very short video format to tell you that noise energy radiates through space, for both audible, which is at 9,000 Hertz, and the non-audible level, which is 25,000 Hertz. Now, in this simple video demonstration, I'm here to tell you that now, although these noises around you, let's say anything above 25,000, now we are talking about millions of Hertz. Now we are talking about, let's say 10 millions of Hertz, 20 millions, okay? Now, it is not audible, you can't hear it, but the energy, it's actually within your living area. And this explains why some people, when you walk into a certain space, for example, an office, or for example, into your car or a certain environment, you actually develop this unexplainable uncomfort, like tension in your head. Some people, when you go to certain hotels, you can't really fall asleep at night, and you're wondering why. Something's disturbing you from external to within. You're absorbing the energy, but you're wondering what's happening to you. How come I don't sleep in this place? I feel uncomfortable. I got tension in the head, stuff like that. So this demonstration is there to show you that although you can't feel it, but the energy is there. It's just that you can't hear it. Okay, it's there, and the intensity is there, bombarding you from time to time. All right. Okay, now let's talk about the next slide. The next slide is pretty interesting. We are talking about the negative effects of the electromagnetic disturbances. We call it disturbances. Okay, the negative effects. Okay, now this survey, next. All right. So this is not from me. This is actually from a 2019 EMF survey. And to me, I think this is pretty good. It's done by Dr. Hoffman, his PhD. Now, in this survey, they're actually interviewing about 871 respondents on their experiences, or how they feel when they're exposed to all this so-called EMF exposure. Now, when you take a look at the top 5 problems that they describe, out of the 871 respondents. Now, the number 1 problem on the screen here, you can see here, 71% reported that they believe that they're having sleep problems, and they believe that these are related to EMF exposure. Okay, so 71% out of 871 respondents, we're talking about 600 over people, they feel that this is due to EMF and they have sleep problems. Now, second, 64%, we're talking about fatigue. They feel tired. Okay, and number 3, now anyone here, you have got children who is actually having this issue. Every time when they use the phone for 1-2 hours, okay, they do stuff like that. When you ask them to go back to learning, let's say they'll learn whatever they learned from school today, they will go back for the homework, okay, assignments, and they're having problem concentrating, or memory or learning problems, meaning it's very hard for them to learn something or memorize something from school, okay? 61% experiencing this, okay? And of course, not to mention, the 4th problem is actually pretty common these days, stress and anxiety, especially for folks who are living in city, high density city where you have to, rush here, rush there, you're working in a very high density office where there is 30 computers in one area, okay? So stress and anxiety is also another mental issues that people these days they are facing. 60% of them say that they could be due to EMF exposure, and headaches, 52%. Now, the rest I'm not mentioning because those percentages are not high, it's not above 50%. Okay, now, next. So I'm going to just do a quick disclaimer. I know that Egbert did the disclaimer after the video, but I'm just going to do a quick disclaimer and to share with you that this is not a medical device, okay? emGuarde's purpose is actually designed and marketed for general use, specifically aimed at creating a balanced and harmonious environment by suppressing electromagnetic noise radiation within a specific frequency range. Okay, so this is not a medical device. Do not do any false claims. But I'm going to share with you next is that, because emGuarde was launched in Malaysia and Singapore last year, okay? And we've managed, to accumulate a lot of users, and there are more than 3,000 users now. Can you imagine that? And now we have got users all around the world. We've got users from Malaysia, we've got users from Philippines, from Singapore, from Dubai, from Hong Kong. I just came from Hong Kong and I was doing a training there, and there's about 100 people there. Okay, I was in Hong Kong, and you name it, Indonesia as well, not to forget our Indonesian friends. Okay, so we're everywhere. All right, we're everywhere. And this particular sharing from Albert, which is a user of emGuarde from Singapore, touches me because he actually bought the emGuarde not only for himself, but for his mom as well. Okay, now let's listen to Albert. What sort of experience is he experiencing after being using the emGuarde for some time?
Hi, I'm Albert here. I'm from Singapore. I recently bought the emGuarde in October. The first person who experienced the result was my mom. She felt a lot of energy and can sleep better throughout the night. Whenever I travel to KL, I also bring the emGuarde along. Throughout the whole journey was a pleasant one, and I don't feel tired at all. My helper, who is taking care of my mom, also has similar effect. She can sleep throughout the night and wake up very refreshed in the day. Truly, this emGuarde is amazing. Thank you, Catherine, for introducing emGuarde to me. Thank you.
Okay, so that's from Albert. Okay, you hear him loud and clear. He's mentioning about sleep, fatigue. I know these are the experience, the improvements that he got after using emGuarde. Okay, so the next lady here, I think she's the Mandarin speaker. She's from one of the small states in Malaysia, okay, Kedah, and she's going to converse her testimonial in Mandarin, but don't worry, we've got it translated into English subtitle for your benefit. Okay, let's listen to Jess as well at the same time.
Hello， 我是来自阿罗萨 Jazz， 今天要与大家分享一下我用了 emGuarde 之前和之后的 testimonial， 我的分享。在还没有用 emGuarde 之前呢，我的睡眠不是很好，就每一天早上很早就醒过来，然后就睡不下去了，还有那个心情也非常暴躁啦。然后自从 Yvonne 和 Yap 跟我分享了这个 emGuarde 之后呢， 我决定买下来是因为他们在我家测试，我家的那个辐射是非常高，所以呢，在第一晚我用这个 emGuarde 呢，我就觉得我的睡眠是特别好的，睡到都不想起来了，也觉得自己的心情啊，那个没有那么暴躁啦，孩子也发现我跟他们的沟通也越来越好，所以呢，这个 emGuarde 对我来说是非常棒啦。我的分享就在这里，谢谢。
I think you hear her loud and
Hello.
clear. She's talking about mood change, and also at the same time, she's talking about sleeping better, and she don't even want to wake up in the morning. She just sleeps so soundly. And so if you look back into this statistics, which is a survey did back in 2019 by Dr. Hartman. Now, the first issue here is talking about sleep problem, about 71%. And those experiences that you heard from the emGuarde users talking about sleep improvement. Meaning the emGuarde technology is actually doing something right to this pollution, okay? And of course, Albert's mom experiencing more energy, meaning fatigue is also part of the solution, all right? And of course, not to mention mood, less stressful, like for Jess, better mood, lesser anger and all that, so meaning lesser stress. So when emGuarde is doing something, to harmonize the environment, at the same time, it's actually changing you as a being as well. Because when you're exposed to all this different unseen energy, sometimes you're having all this, or begin to develop all these unnecessary disturbances or issues. Okay, so these are coming from the users genuinely. Okay, now I think the video was played during Egbert's introduction. Okay, so I'm not going to replay the video. You can look at this following video through the emGuarde.com. This video is available on the emGuarde's official site. So I'm not going to go through this video. I'm going to dive straight into the specs of the emGuarde, okay, to give you more clarity. Okay, and now let me just do a quick recap. For those people who came in early, Egbert did share with you a video by a doctor in Malaysia. His name is Dr. Roland. Okay, and he's actually talking about, there's one subject which is by name of Mark. He went to the clinic and they were actually doing some experiment in the clinic, and he did the prick on the finger and found out that, he's actually developing Rouleaux formation after playing for the phone for about 30 minutes. Okay, and the before and after using the emGuarde test was also pretty shocking to me, because when they turned on the emGuarde for 30 minutes, Mark was actually playing on the phone continuously, okay, while the emGuarde's on. And you can actually see that, the differences is actually pretty obvious, okay, from the slide itself. And perhaps maybe before I get into this, I feel that it's pretty important because it's also one of the benefit, it's actually one of the benefit of the emGuarde as well. And can I invite Egbert to just replay that video for those latecomers? And for those who came in, the video is only 5 minutes, and I invite your patience. And for those people who came in late, so that they can actually see it as well at the same time, okay? Now let's get Egbert to replay the video for the audience today. There is about 85 of you in the room, okay? Thank you, Egbert.
Phone radiation is harmful, but few want to believe it.
Concerned about laptop radiation? Well, you should be.
Cell phones do seem to have some mysterious effect on the brain.
Guys, I had no idea that I'd been exposed to this unseen radiation, EMR, without even realizing it. So I've got to find out some more information, and I've got to find somebody who knows what they're talking about. Firstly, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to see me today.
You're welcome.
I'm actually here to ask you some questions about EMR.
Sure, let me share you some information. So when we look into electromagnetic radiation, we need to understand there's so many components to it. The first thing we need to see is, of course, the ionizing radiation, which we refer to like nuclear exposure, space exposure, where these kind of ionizing radiation can be dangerous. Even also the usage of like X-ray. And then there's another component which is less harmful, but we cannot rule it out, which is non-ionizing radiation. These come from our phones, laptops, our microwave, and even our Wi-Fi. But you must know something, that there's something called as Rouleaux formation, where red blood cells start to stack on each other. So if you see their blood vessels, there are many branches in them. Okay. So then you have red blood cells traveling inside. And imagine this is a red blood cell, and they start to form clumps or stagnation. They start to stack among each other. So what happens is, due to the presence of iron inside red blood cells, they are rich in ferrite, magnets or electromagnetic radiation increase or makes their charge more positive, and they start to stack. And when they start to stack, this disrupts their interchange between delivering oxygen into the cells and then taking up carbon dioxide into the red blood cells. There's many studies and journals that are citing that an excessive exposure towards the EMR can lead to cancer provocation in the body, whether it's benign or malignant. Possibilities are there.
After hearing about all these health problems, I'm a bit concerned about myself, and I'm curious to know what my red blood cells could actually look like.
Yeah, we have a simple prick test, and we can actually analyze the red blood cells.
Okay,
let's do that.
Let's go. Being always on the phone and my laptop for work and learning about the health effects of EMR is beginning to worry me. So let's find out what my results of my blood test are, as suggested by Dr. Roland.
So what we can see here are red blood cells. We can see red blood cells, they are very translucent and they don't have a nucleus. And we can see beautifully the red blood cells moving around in the matrix. So my question to you is, how long since you were away from your phone?
I think about 40 minutes maybe.
That seems not your kind of reality.
Oh no, I'm on my phone all the time.
Okay, so what we can do is, you get on your phone for maybe close to about half an hour, holding it, and then we'll check again and see how does the capillary blood look like.
It looked like my first blood test result was clean, with no signs of blood clotting or blood clumps. But would just 30 minutes of cell phone usage really do any harm at all to my body? I hope not. Let's find out.
Okay, let's have a look. So you can see all the cells now being stacked. See, all of them are, you cannot see those loose cells. You can see most of the cells now all stacked.
Clumped up together, right?
Exactly. Just look at that. The big message is always to try to reduce our exposure. It's almost impossible not to use, but try to be a bit more cautious in the usage.
The thing is, I know you say it's better to reduce. It's impossible for somebody like me, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there that also need to be holding their phones. So is there anything I can do?
This is the device that can actually help harmonize your electromagnetic frequency wave. And you want to see how it works?
Sure.
Come. See how much of exposure is going. Can you see the exposure to your phone?
Yeah.
It's high, right?
Yeah.
You can see the laptop and all still are having a lot of exposure. So I'm going to turn this on.
Wow.
No exposure.
It's zero.
Yeah, exactly.
With the environment harmonizer turned on beside me, Dr. Roland and I proceeded to do a third blood test to see just how well this technology supposedly suppresses EMR. Okay, so this looks completely different to the last test, doesn't it?
Yep. Clearly looks different, lesser ruler formation.
Okay, well thank you so much for introducing me not only into the health factors we need to be aware of when it comes to using devices, but also thank you for showing me a solution that can eliminate that.
Thank you for sharing the video, Egbert. I think this video gave a lot of, I would say, clarity on the benefits of the emGuarde, which is the main benefit. So the main benefit of emGuarde is actually to help us, to suppress the negative effects of the EM radiation, which is rouleau formation, and also the slowing down of the microcirculation. Okay, so that's the main objective. Because we know that the EMR environment is going to cause your microcirculation to slow down in terms of speed, and rouleau formation is inevitable, as confirmed by Dr. Magda Harvest, which is one of the scholars from she's a Canadian researcher, and she confirmed and publishes this rouleau formation caused by EMR exposure in PubMed. So it's actually in one of the publication in PubMed as well, talking about how electrosmoke affecting, the human red blood cells. Okay, so now getting back into specs. Okay, now we have got another set of session. We call it the emGuarde empowerment training, and I've heard one questions coming from a participant. She actually PM in my inbox and saying that there could be certain things that she wants to know more about this. Now we have got another session. We call it the emGuarde empowerment training, and in that training we are here to share with you more technical information stuff about how it works and all that. But in this demo itself, this is a more introduction kind of demonstration where we just give you a brief presentation on what emGuarde really is. But if let's say you would like to know more intense in terms of, or in depth in terms of information, please join the next emGuarde empowerment training, and we will dare to address some of your questions as well. Okay, now let me run through these technical spec. So it's a patented technology. It harmonizes targeted high frequency electromagnetic noise radiation up to 1 gigahertz range. Okay, and the coverage range is up to 4 meter radius. So when you place the emGuarde right, it's going to cover you from the left 4 meter, from the right, top and bottom. So it's like circumference. It's 360 degrees. Okay, it's 4 meter radius. So in diameter, it's about 8 meter diameter. And you can power up the emGuarde by using a Type-C power supply. Okay, it's provided as a cable coming from your emGuarde. So it's actually portable. You can just go anywhere with your emGuarde and there is no issue. You can just plug it in with the right adapter. And this is the spec. Okay. Now, the next slide I'm going to show you is actually a short video. And in this video, I'm going to show you a contrast on during the demonstration. We are going to point this detector, which is able to read, the high intensity of the electromagnetic noise radiation. And there's a contrast of when you turn on and turn off the emGuarde. Okay, so let's take a look at the video before I explain further. So the first scenario is actually to measure the intensity of a DB box, as you can see. The second one is talking about a induction cooker, about 2000 plus, then goes to 0. Laptops about 2000 plus, and when emGuarde is on, it's 0. Okay. Now, during the demonstration, you can actually get this marketing tool from Energic as well. Okay, it's available. And this is a simple marketing tool to allow, the common folks out there, okay, which is a layman, to understand that, this detector is able to detect the unseen energy. It's like the first few slides I've told you about, the sound wave travels. So this detector is very good for you to probe the intensity of high frequency electromagnetic noise radiation from electrical and electronic appliances. Okay, it is a very visual kind of visual aid in order for your customers to understand that where does this comes from, which is, it's directional. You can point it towards the LED light, you can point towards, the electric kettle, and it will produce a certain intensity. Now, at the same time, this measurement devices is also used to verify, that the noise suppression harmonics frequencies. Now, this is actually a patented frequencies by the developer. Okay, so it's actually used to verify that the noise suppression harmonics frequency from the emGuarde is in function, and this reason why it's turning 0. Okay, so this is a very good tool for you to use. Now, besides this, we're going to introduce you another tool where we can actually use to verify the efficacy of the emGuarde, which is up to at least a 4 meter radius coverage range. So in this video, we will show you that we're using this third-party gadget, and when we turn on the emGuarde, how it actually suppresses the unwanted noise produced by this specific LED light bulb. Let's take a look at the video. Alright, so in this section of the video, I'm going to show you how emGuarde has the ability to alleviate the radiation from this LED light bulb 4 meters away from this antenna. Okay, so now, first of all, I would like you to see the screen. From the software itself, everything is clear before I turn on the LED. Now, as soon as I turn on the LED, as you can see, you can actually see that the noise field from the EM radiation comes back, and it's actually showing in this blue curvy line. Okay, so now I'm going to invite my team to take this emGuarde away from me for about 4 meter, okay, in radius. Okay, now I'm going to invite my team to power on the emGuarde. Just plug the USB-C, leave it on the table. Now, as soon as the emGuarde is on, as you can see, the frequency spectrum from the SDR software has been cleared away. Okay, now as soon as I unpower the emGuarde, please remove the power line from the emGuarde, just unplug. Wait for about 2 to 3 seconds. The radiation from the LED comes back immediately. Now let's do another control test by powering up the emGuarde again. Please put the USB-C power cable into the emGuarde. There you go. And immediately, as you can see, everything is cleared away. And this is to show you that emGuarde works effectively 4 meters away from this antenna. Okay, so to give the crowd here, which is about 91 of you here, more clarity. Now, this specific gadget that we're using here is called the SDR. Okay, meaning it's actually a software-defined radio. And this antenna is going to, allow you to register the fundamental noise or the white noise coming from the environment. Now, the next video here is that we were in Hong Kong 2 months ago, and we're actually in this hotel room, and me and my friend Simon is actually beginning to experiencing this unexplainable tension, and straight away we pull out the same software, as this is actually the same software used in the laboratory test to verify the efficacy of emGuarde's suppression range as well. Okay, so now getting back into this video, we're going to show you that how we use this software to detect the fundamental noise interference around the room. And when we turn on the emGuarde, I want you to see the contrast, how it actually suppresses that specific noise radiation. Let's play the video.
So I want you guys to see. Just zoom in on the phone, Ben. You can just take a look at this.
I don't know if you guys can hear it. So the software is connected to a dongle that connects to an antenna, and the antenna is receiving the interference around this room. It's unbelievable. Take a look at the chart. It is crazy, absolutely crazy. We have not seen this anywhere else. Okay, so now what we want to find out is, if we have the emGuarde, what can it do to us and what can it do for us? So it's not connected. Now I'm going to put next to the SDR software. I'm going to turn it on in 3, 2, 1. Look at the wave spectrum, it's gone down. I'm going to unplug the emGuarde. Right.
How about this suppression?
All right, take a look at the suppression, guys. Here, take a look at the suppression. Boom, with the emGuarde turned on.
Okay, so basically this is the same software that we used back in the earlier video to verify the range. At the same time, this software is also able to detect some of the fundamental noise, as preset. So in order for you to learn how to use this, please attend the upcoming emGuarde empowerment training, and we'll be having more information on, teaching the distributors on how to maneuver with some of these applications. Okay. Now we have heard enough of emGuarde, and we have heard enough of all this different demonstration, and now you know that it's not coming from just us, but from a medical doctor like Dr. Roland to verify that there is actually benefit. Okay, so now let me introduce you who are the brains behind the emGuarde technology. All right, now these 5 gentlemen here has earned my respect, and basically these are the brains behind the emGuarde technology. Now, just to give you a brief introduction to the history of emGuarde. Okay, now these 5 gentlemen here, they begin to develop or to do the R&D, which is the research and development of the emGuarde, back in year 2009. So this is not like a technology from yesterday. The hard work began about 15 years ago, back in 2009. And over the years, these 5 pillars of the emGuarde, non-stop, they've been improving technology, they've been cracking their head on how to perfect this, and what sort of values can this technology bring to the society. And I want to introduce to you, because these 5 gentlemen has got one similarity. If you look at the experiences they have there, and they are all former Panasonic engineers. Starting from the gentleman on your left, Mr. Lau, 14 years in Panasonic. Mr. Yan, 33 years in Panasonic. Mr. Teo, 33 years in Panasonic. Mr. Poon. Mr. Poon is also one of the most respected guy over here, because he's actually the main, thinker and brain for this technology. 33 years. Look at that. Former Panasonic factory director in charge of, new product engineering. So he's basically the R&D director, the former R&D director. And of course, not to mention Mr. Chan, 25 years in Panasonic. So all of them here, they've got very strong Panasonic background. And when we talk about Panasonic, I think Panasonic needs no introduction. Everyone around the world knows what's Panasonic. They produce aircon, they produce TV, you name it, it's actually a home name, okay? And because of this, I think this also attracted Energic's attention because Energic is also a very solid Japanese company, 50 years now, okay? I think another few months' time, it's turning 50 years now. So it's a pretty solid Japanese company. And there's reason why Energic is looking into this because look at all this. Their background is also in Panasonic, and we're talking about decades of experience. So these are actually the brains behind this amazing emGuarde technology. Okay, now let me go to the next slide to give you a short explanation on how it works, just in case for those technical people who wants to know how it works. People are just thinking, hey, how come when I turn on the emGuarde, the Wi-Fi is still around and all that? And it's not even addressing the Wi-Fi signal, but how come there are still, benefits from the emGuarde? It's pretty simple. So when we use all these gadgets here, let's talk about the handphone, the laptops, the hair dryer. Now, all this gadget produces three energy. Remember, there's three types of energy coming out from the gadget: electric field, signal, at the same time, electromagnetic noise. So emGuarde is actually suppressing targeted electromagnetic noise, and it's actually addressing some of the most important concern as well. It's actually one of the factors that's slowing down, the microcirculation and stuff like that. Now, let me give you a proper description here. So when you turn on the emGuarde in a 4-meter range, this is what it does. emGuarde utilizes harmonic frequencies to effectively suppress targeted electromagnetic noise radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000. Now, when we talk about 3 megahertz to 1000, we're not talking about the entire frequency range, okay? It's actually a bandwidth given by the developer. They're suppressing between 3 to 1000, but selected, targeted as well, okay? So we have got the few frequencies targeted here, and those are all trade secrets, okay? You don't ask them. It's like you don't ask a cook how they make that soup, okay? It's trade secret, but it works, okay? And now this harmonizing method achieves a balanced atmosphere while preserving the natural ambient frequency. That's the reason why you can still operate your gadgets, normally. At the same time, you can still get the benefit of the emGuarde, which is to suppress the negative effects of the EMR on microcirculation. All right, so this is actually the nutshell. Now, I'm almost done. The next slide is actually talking about documentation. Again, documentation beats conversation. So they actually put emGuarde into tests, and this university is actually one of the most reputable universities in Malaysia, USM. It's University Science of Malaysia. Okay, so anything due to science, tech, they go to this. And this is actually a laboratory test done by Dr. Yam Manfei. If you look at his name, just Google him, Dr. Yam. All right, he's a well-known PhD doctor. He's got 4 PhDs, by the way. Okay, now who owns 4 PhDs? One is already tough, but this doctor, he owns 4 PhDs. So he's the one who is in charge to do this laboratory testings to verify emGuarde. Now let's take a look at what is this laboratory test all about. Okay, so it's actually, product is describing as electromagnetic noise radiation harmonizer. The brand name, of course, is emGuarde, and the title itself, the effective range of radio frequency white noise suppression of the electromagnetic noise radiation harmonizer. Okay, now, so these are some of the data there. I'm not going to go through the data because it's very technical. Okay, I just want to focus on the first one. Okay, the first result. Okay, so the first result is stating that the electromagnetic noise radiation harmonizer emGuarde successfully performed as required at distance. So this is to verify that when you turn on the emGuarde at the distance of 4 meter, 5 meter, and 6 meter, all in radius, okay, under the various environment tested, it proves that the device can effectively guarantee a coverage range of at least 6 meter radius. So the first statement from this test report is to verify that when you turn on the emGuarde, at least up to 6 meter radius, but to be conservative, we promise the customers it's up to 4 meter radius. Okay, because the developer, it's also saying 4, so we said 4. But from an actual test report, it's actually up to 6 meter radius, meaning in diameter, we're talking about 12 meter diameter. It's huge. It's a big area. Okay, now the second one, the electromagnetic noise radiation harmonizer, emGuarde, effectively suppress unwanted, the word is unwanted, okay, electromagnetic noise wave between 71 megahertz and 73. So in our intensive training, we're going to talk more why in the lab test they specifically test this frequency, 71, 73, because basically this, if you do some research on internet, basically 72 megahertz is actually the normal operating frequency for the brain, okay? And emGuarde can effectively suppress this, okay, which is the unwanted energy from this frequency spectrum. So this is the key. This is actually a hint of why all those people, back in the video, they're talking about better sleep at night. They've got more energy, a clearer mind state, better mood. It's because of this unique targeted frequency range, okay, which is between 71 to 73. Okay, so that's the hint. So now following slides is talking about, during the test, they are putting the test into different environment, residential area, working space, and laboratory as well. Okay, and that's the conclusion. Okay, just pull all the way up. So these are the images coming from. So in the lab, is actually using the same software that I've shown you through the demonstration video. So they're actually using the same software application to verify the suppression as well. So this is a solid report coming from a reputable institute. Okay, so this is the conclusion. You can read it for yourself when you get this material. Okay, so it's up to 6 meter coverage. Now, talking about compliance. Now, today I'm very happy to tell you that, SGS, actually approves this product. And there's reason why enagic is actually marketing this and planning to market this in more countries in months to come. And we're talking about countries like, European countries, India and all that. Those are upcoming countries, okay, in months to come. So in this report, when you do some research on SGS is actually a world top 5 laboratory for compliance testing. Okay, you can do your research. It's a Switzerland-based company, and today they are all around the world. They are in China, they are in Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, you name it. Okay, they have got branches there. So they are responsible in verifying that the emGuarde product is good to go. Okay, the radiation level from the product, it is safe for public use, and I'm proud to tell you that we obtained, now in this slide, this is actually not updated yet, but today, I'm happy to tell you that SGS has actually got 3 approvals. The first one is coming from CE, and CE is actually, the European standard, okay, for European standard, CE. Now, the second one we're talking about is FCC, and FCC is actually for the American compliance standard. So for both CE and SB. Now, the third one, which we received about 1 or 2 days ago, is Roche. I don't know whether you've heard it, ROHS. Okay, so it's another compliance verification. So now we got 3 from SGS, okay, at the same time. So the following picture is actually some of the pictures that they took, during the laboratory verification of emGuarde. As you can see, it's pretty well set up. Okay, it's pretty well set up. And you can see emGuarde, from the pictures, this is how they do the test, equipments that they use. There you go, the emGuarde device. And they put it into a very stringent test because they know that this thing is going to go global. And in order for this thing to be export or to import by multiple countries, they need to do this verification. And I'm proud to tell you that emGuarde, it's ESO certified, in that sense, for public use. So, wow, I've been talking for the past, 40 minutes, okay? So for those people who wants to know about this, please contact a local enagic distributor today to find out more, okay? And as always, I would like to end the session here by stating our slogan, which is change your environment, change your life. Now, what is the Kangen Water slogan? I believe everyone here today, I think all of you here, somehow you heard about enagic. enagic is a reputable company around the world, and they're doing this fantastic Kangen water machine, which is the world gold standard water ionizer. So the slogan for the ionizer machine is change your water, change your life. And now emGuarde is actually a new addition to this gold standard company. And that's why they're applying the new slogan, because Mr. Oshiro is a guy with compassion and he wants to help more people. That's the reason why he felt that, besides water, I think the environment, it's also very important as well. That's the reason why he wanted to change your environment so that you can change your life as well. Okay, with that, I rest my case for tonight. And I thank you all for listening. And this room recording is actually recorded. And for those people who wants to share with your friend, you can just go to the Telegram channel and we have this recorded, ready for you. You can just send it to your friends and they can get to know more about this for those people who actually missed out today's session. Okay, now please don't go yet because the next session is also very interesting. Okay, the next session, we're actually talking about how you can actually turn this amazing technology into a potential global business opportunity. Okay, and with this, I'm going to pass on to the marketing expert, which is Mr. Egbert. Back to you, Egbert. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Now, before David turns off his